Hey, what's up guys? It's Into the Burning Abyss here, back from the video. I was about to mess that up, but I know I've been gone a while, guys. I'm finally trying to make a few videos right now before, basically, before the ban list comes out, because I've been waiting for a new ban list. I thought we were going to get one in the last, honestly, I thought we were going to get one sometime either in early September or mid-September. So I was like, I don't want to update my deck profiles for the September month if the ban is about to come by, then I have to make one like right after again. So, but as you all know, we are still waiting for the ban list. So I was like, you know what? I might as well just show you guys what I've been playing the last month or so since I've made a video. I'm going to update my probably 3 decks, the Burning Abyss, the Exosisters, and the Dragon Link. These are the 3 decks that I'm currently running right now. So, yeah, I think there might be a ban list this Monday. Right now it's Saturday, so there might be a ban list on Monday. It'll suck for my video because I'll have to update the decks and all that, change whatever and all that stuff. So, we'll see. I do want a ban list. I hope it comes. If it comes Monday, that'll be good. It's just gonna suck a little bit because of the whole video right now that I'm making. So, last minute, but at the same time, like I said, I didn't expect Konami to take this long. It's been more than 4 months since the last ban list, so they don't normally wait that long. But yeah, guys, I guess for this video, I'm just gonna update my Burning Abyss deck profile. This is obviously my main deck in the channel. I love the deck, and I'm gonna quickly make a disclaimer. The deck is definitely struggling. I've been trying to find a way to make it work. It's just Splight and Tearlaments are just way too quick decks, their pacing is too fast for Burning Abyss, honestly. So, but I did just find a build currently because I've been testing out with different builds. I did just find a build that I'm, I guess, okay with. It's worked out the best for me, but it's still not great, I guess. But yeah, guys, without further ado, let's just get right into the deck profile. Alright guys, so let's get started with the profile. So as you guys can probably tell, it might be a little hard to tell, but I managed to pick up an Italian max rarity core, which is super crazy expensive, but well worth it for my favorite deck. But yeah, just thought it'd be nice to tell you guys. But yeah, let's get started with the deck profile. Of course, starting with the BAs. 3 Graph, 3 Seer, of course, the 3 Skarm, and 3 Farfa. These are the 3 ups. Definitely the most impactful of the BAs. They do everything for you, special from deck, special from grave, removal, and follow-up with Skarm. You definitely need to up the names in this build. Just, again, this is a going second build. I just feel like BA going first, if you rely on going first, because obviously the deck can have you can make a pretty good going first build. But obviously if you go second, then, you're probably not going to win with the going first build, because a going first build would probably have some trap cards like Floodgates and stuff, D-Barrier or Anti-Spell, but, we going second, they're just horrible cards. So I opt more for the going second build just because it's, it'll help you win more. It's better because you can just choose to go second, and then you can side. If you win or lose, whatever. If you lose going first, you can still side to go first in game 2 and actually put in going first cards. But yeah, I think these are all mandatory. The best ones at 3. They work pretty well. Then the 2 ofs, 2 Libic, 2 Alec. These are not as good, but they are still pretty impactful. And since we play Desires, we definitely want to have multiples just to make sure we keep one in deck at least. That's another reason why I actually run 3 Farfa. Not just because it's good removal, but Desires. It's happened several times where I banished 2, and it kind of sucks. But this, the Libic and the Alec, they're not as important, but they're still good cards to have. So that's why I play them at 2. And last but not least, the last 2 names, one Calcab, one Barbar. Again, more utility, but also just to have different names. Barbar for time. Calcav is pretty good at getting rid of back row. So that's it for the BAs. Pretty standard, 18 Burning Abyss monsters and 2 Tour Guide. Just Tour Guide is, again, not good going first, but it's pretty good going turn 3. Or I guess turn 4 if you're going second. But, really good card. It is pretty good if you open up 2 BAs plus her, even when you're going second. As long as you open up 2 BAs and her, because you can use the 2 BAs and not commit your normal summon and try to force something, and then you still have Tour Guide. So, yeah, pretty good. Pretty standard. Don't want 3, just you don't want to clog on it. And that's it for the monsters. 20, I guess, monsters in terms of actual engine. And then now going for the hand traps. 3 Ash, 3 Crow. I am playing 2 Ghost Ogre and 3 Imperm. So these are the hand traps. I decided, okay, I've been testing this build out with board breakers, with hand traps, with a mixture of both. And at first, I did get some, reference from Drew, Traveler of the Burning Abyss. Go check out his channel if you haven't. He's a really good Burning Abyss player. But he was playing like a board breaker build with a lot of XYZs in the extra deck. And he was playing like Lava Golems, Dark Ruler, cards, a lot of big removal cards. And he was playing Droplet as well. All these board breakers, which I think they are good, like, again, in their own way. And I did try it out. I did try out the, like, having 3 Droplet, 3 Dark Ruler, 3 of the Lava Golems. I wasn't running Imperm. I wasn't running Ash. I wasn't running Ogre. I was still running the DD Crow just because DD Crow is so good this format. And I don't know, I just couldn't consistently break boards. A lot of times, actually, the Lava Golem, like, not being able to normal summon with the Lava Golem really did hurt me trying to break a board, actually. Like, yeah, Lava Golem's pretty good because it gets rid of 2 bodies, but Sprite still has, like, sometimes they'll have a 3rd body, and if it's a Sprite card, they normally have Smashers set, and Smashers hurts this deck so much. So, yeah, I was finding it that the Lava Golem was conflicting too much, so I decided to try. Also, like I said, I was also trying out some more hand trap builds. I just recently put this list together just today, actually, but yesterday I was not running the 2 Ghost Ogre. I was running 3 Dark Ruler and 2 Forbidden Droplet. I was running those cards, but I feel like Dark Ruler is fine, but I feel like BA doesn't play too well into mostly Sprite. Like, and also Dark Ruler is not that great against like tier limits. It's mostly Sprite. So I feel like overall Dark Ruler didn't cover like a wide variety of decks, So I was not liking Dark Ruler that much, so I decided to go for this more hand trap heavy build to actually stop my opponent from setting up their most optimal board. And that's how, as long as I open 2 BAs, I can hopefully break the board, with Zeus. But yeah, so this is the hand trap choice I went with. So that's his 11 hand traps, and again, none of them are like huge impact, but I opted for Ghost Ogre versus Veiler because since this is a going second build, most of the time, like, it's gonna happen more often that you draw Veiler as your 6th card, and Veiler as your 6th card is completely useless. So I'd rather have Ghost Ogre, which I can still use on my turn, and against some decks, it's definitely, I feel like it would actually work out pretty well. So I just feel like Ghost Ogre would have a little more utility if I draw it as my 6th card. And while I do think if you open up Veiler in your first 5 cards going second, I do think Veiler overall is better. But like, if you get to use it, but like I said, just the fact that if you draw it as your 6th card, it's dead. I don't like that. So this is what I went with. The other hand, I think Imperm is one of the best hand traps. So Ash is pretty covers a lot of decks, and DD Crow is definitely one of the best also hand traps in this format. And then for the last going second cards, I am playing 3 Droplet and 2 Cosmic in the main. Droplet is just so good with BA just because, you get to discard your BAs, negate stuff, and you get to trigger their effects. So I just think it's a better card than Dark Ruler, even though the only thing I don't like about Droplet right now is that against Sprite, it forces you to use your Droplet early. Like, you can't wait for Toad to try to negate since it tributes for cost. So yeah, there's that. But I just feel like Droplet has more synergy with Burning Abyss than Dark Ruler does. And then the 2 Cosmic because it's just an out to back row, and honestly, all the meta decks right now, Tearlament, Sprite, even decks like even the more combo heavy decks, they all have like a little bit of back row. Honestly, I've been noticing. So Punk, like, I feel like they still have a little bit of back row, or like, Runic has their field spell and things like that. So because of that, I feel like Cosmic is just necessary, and obviously there's like Mine and stuff like that. So, or Necro Valley in the case of like Exo Sisters. I just think Cosmic is necessary right now, just to hit, like, obviously this is not good against like combo heavy decks. Back row heavy decks. It's not good against back row heavy because it's only 1-for-1, and you're paying 1,000 life points. But since most decks right now have at least a little bit of back row, I feel like this card covers the most back row. It was Galaxy Cyclone because Galaxy Cyclone you can still use it if you mill it off, Dante or something in the graveyard. But against Tearlament, I feel like you don't want to Cosmic, you don't want a Galaxy Cyclone there, Meta Noise or any other trap cards because they get effects too. So I just feel like Cosmic just covers a wider variety of decks. And the last but not least, the consistency cards here, the 2 Pot of Desires and the 1-ofs, the Foolish Barrier and the Called By. Obviously, Pot of Desires, you need some kind of consistency card in the deck, and I do think Prosperity is better overall, but this deck is, like, you really don't want to banish too much of your extra deck. So, I feel like if you can't confidently banish 6 cards, it's not worth playing Prosperity. If you have to always banish 3, I just don't feel like it's worth it. And Desires, just obviously you don't have to banish your extra deck. So I just feel like Desires is just, it better synergizes with this deck, and that's why I play a lot of 3-ofs of the main deck monsters. So that way we can afford to banish 1 or 2. Foolish, of course, I've been finding this card to be really going it's almost better going second, just because it helps you with this deck. It helps you force anything. Like, you can send Alec, negate a card. You can send Farfall, banish a card. You can send Calcap, bounce a back row. So it's like, really, or like I said, it could help you start your plays if you only draw 1 BA. This is basically Graph. So, and then Called By, of course. Called By is Called By. Good going first or second. So that's it for the main guys. 40 cards, as always. Now going into the extra deck. Of course, the 1 Beatrice and the 2 Dante. Because I've picked up 3 Italian ones, and I've really been trying to find a way to play 3, but yeah, space is really tight in the deck, honestly. So yeah, we've just been playing the 2 Dante, as much as I would really love to play 3. Can't be helped. But of course, Dante is just the main card of the deck. You definitely need more than 1, honestly. It's pretty hard to play, like, to go into the grind if you don't have a second one. So definitely a 2-of card for Dante. And then for the next cards, we got the rest of the the XYZs. Why not the rest? I guess more of them. We got the DDD package. I feel like this package has been working pretty well for me. It helps you make a big beater, honestly, in order to, basically out your opponent's monsters. If you can't run over it with Dante, you have more options. And it helps you go into a 4 material Zeus, so that's pretty good. And if you, against certain matchups, you could just leave this on board and you can take your opponent's monsters. So that's pretty cool. But I mean, I've thought about cutting it just because in theory, I feel like it sounds really good. But it hasn't been coming up too much where like I really only use it for the, to beat over something that Dante can't beat over. And still make a format. That's really the only thing I use it for. Haven't really used it to actually take my opponent's monsters. I've never really used it. I've never really used it to play around like rivalry, because this does play around rivalry. Since not as many people are playing that card right now, so yeah, I don't know. I'm debating on cutting this. Not sure yet. And of course, the 1 Downerd and the 2 Zeus. If you could tell, guys, I picked up some Starlights. Of course, Zeus is like the main boss monster of the deck. Just helps wipe boards go in second. And Downerd helps you, you can stack it on Dante if you want to have a 4 material Zeus. So, this is really, really standard. Then now we do play, I like to play a heavy link package just because if you play all XYZs, you hard lose to D-Barrier. So, the Link 4s, we're playing 1 Access Code and 1 Abramax. Just Access Code for, OTKing. Abramax is actually, I was playing the Goddess before, but the Goddess is, while she is good in removing one of your opponent's monsters from the field, Abramax is also like, he's a little bit easier to make, and he also, it's basically almost as, because the Goddess, if you don't game your opponent there, she's not that useful afterwards. Like, her negate effect is only a card that would get special summon from the grave, which your opponent can easily play around that. And the effect to negate all monsters, it's just when she's summoned, which is not that good. Yeah, she's a little bit hard to get rid of because, your opponent has to target her. She's unaffected by anything else. But I don't feel like she's that crazy to get around. While Abramax, if you make it with IP, can be targeted by anything already, and he can't be destroyed, and he basically can't be destroyed by battle once, because once per turn he gains the attack of the monster if he battles. So it's so hard to out this card. So I just feel like Abramax has been, I actually got to summon it yesterday at local, and it helped me win the game. So I like Abramax. I think overall better than the Goddess. Then playing the 1 Nightmare Unicorn for the only Link 3 that we play. Just to go off with IP, or you can just make it in your turn and climb into Access Code. Play a couple of Link 2s. You play 1 IP, 1 Dark, and 1 Cherubini. So, these are the very typical Link 2s that the deck plays. IP is part of the going first combo. Cherubini is pretty good when you go second to help you link climb or set up combos. And Dark is also good to just link climb as well. And if you leave it on board, if your opponent destroys it, you can search for basically any Burning Abyss monster. Well, not any, but almost any of them. So yeah, these are your Link 2s. And last but not least, the Purple Dante. Just Purple Dante is Purple Dante. Honestly, like, you don't get to summon him that much, but I just like to have him because it's so satisfying when you do. But honestly, you should honestly cut it, but I can't bring myself to do it. But yeah, guys, that's it for the Burning Abyss deck profile. This has been the build that's worked out pretty well for me. I haven't got to test this build specifically that much yet, since I just actually fixed it up today. Like I said, the only difference I was doing yesterday was instead of the Ghost Ogres, I was playing, and the 3 Droplet, I was playing 2 Droplet, and I was playing 3 Dark Ruler. That was the only difference from the build right now versus yesterday. Like I said, I just feel like I'd rather have more hand traps to slow down my opponent's board than try to break it, just because, again, your opponent normally has, like, Sprite has some back row, like Starter or or Smashers, and then even Tearlaments have like this. Sometimes they have their traps or whatever. So, and against Tearlament, I do think Droplet is just fine. Like, they don't have really any monsters that you can, that tribute themselves for cost, like Toad does. So, yeah, I think be a really fun deck. It's definitely not tier 1, of course, but it's still a really fun deck, and you can still make it work under a good pilot. It's just, like I said, it gets outpaced by all the meta decks right now. So, but yeah, if you just want to have some fun and obviously enjoy the game a little bit, I still think it's a fun deck. So, yeah, guys, that's it for the Burning Abyss deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you did, and stay tuned for a few more videos. Peace out.